Okay, so we just did our show and tell. Let's talk about what we need to build this putt-putt golf game, right? So this is what we call pseudo programming, right? And it's just talking out and writing down kind of the logic of what we need to do and how we're going to do it. So I have this little Photoshop image here of a typical putt-putt golf course, right? And what do we think we're going to need when we build this exact same thing, right? So in putt-putt golf, if you've never done it before, obviously there's a course or a hole that you play, right? And typically there's not either 9 or 18 holes, depending on how fancy the course is. And then sometimes, not always, but sometimes they have these what are called water hazards or different types of hazards. But for us, it's just going to be a water hazard. So we're going to build some sort of blueprint that deals with this hazard and the logic behind it. So in the current game, actually, let me turn off all the other things except for the water hazard here, right? So in the current game, when you hit the water hazard, you drop the ball into a water hazard, you have to reset back to the tee off location. So you reset it back to your tee off location. And that's another thing we're going to need too, by the way, is tee off location. So we're going to need that logic for that hazard, right? So we can just place the hazard wherever we want. We should be able to shape the hazard however we want. And then if the player ends up in that hazard, then we're going to reset them back to the tee off. The tee off location is where you start. And obviously we need a golf ball as well, right? So we're going to need a golf ball. This will act as our pawn. That's what the player possesses, right? So we need cameras to work with that golf ball. And then we're going to need what's called a pin. So this is like where the goal is, right? Where the player needs to hit it to. And then we can make some cool stuff. Like I have this little windmill, right? So we can make some like windmills, maybe little bumpers or something like that. And I'll show you kind of some of the ideas that I created. So here's my little windmill. Here's like some bumpers, right? And this is just straight up triangles. Here's some stuff like that. You can just go to town, right? And I'd also like to get into maybe some of the landscaping as well, so we can maybe landscape out a shape for our course, and then have instead of just being flat like you're looking at mine, like it's just straight flat like this. And that's how a normal putt-putt golf course is straight flat like this, right? Because they make them out of plywood. But maybe ours will be like mountainous or hilly or have all sorts of different shapes and stuff like that. So we can go to town with that. Okay, so yeah, I think this is good. We'll need a blueprint for our windmill. We'll need a golf ball pond. We're gonna need a blueprint for the pin. We're gonna need a blueprint for our water hazard. We'll also probably need a blueprint for building the shape of the course so that if a ball lands outside of the course, right? So we have our golf ball and it goes outside. No, select the golf ball. There we go. It goes outside of the course. Then we can reset them back onto the tee as well, right? So if it lands in the water, goes back to the tee, goes out of the course, lands and goes back to the tee. So we'll probably build that with the hazard thing as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get to town on starting our project here. So in Unreal, you should be able to open up Unreal. And when you do, it brings you up to the select or create a new project. And from there, we're going to do a new project category. Now, if you don't have this screen, obviously you just go to Epic Games and you go to Unreal. It's going to take forever. That's okay. So if you don't have Unreal Engine on your desktop like I do, then just look for Epic Games. Go inside the Epic Games Launcher, go to the Unreal tab right here on the left. And then from there, you can go to Library. And then you're just going to launch your version of Unreal. And hopefully you guys don't have 5.0. You should be using 4 for now. Although it is, speaking of 5.0, they just released a preview version, so it's pretty cool. But for now, we're just going to stick with version 4. Unreal 4. So once you click on that, it'll take you to this screen right here. All right. Now, of course, you probably don't have all these recent projects. You probably only have the one that we've been working on, and that's perfectly fine. But what we want to do is right here under new projects category, we want to select game. Next. And then we could do, we're just going to do first person shooter. It's fine. So for template, we'll select first person. We want to know blueprints, no tracing, start with content. This all looks good. So under Unreal Projects, we'll name it. We'll call it, what we'll call it, what will we call it? Putt golfing. You can call it something like that, it's fine. And then once you're done, you just hit create project. What's the, why do we have the sad face? What did we do wrong? All right, I'm gonna hit create project and we'll let it build. This will take just a second. How I want to use my UE5. So actually some really cool stuff in UE5 besides Lumen and nanites and all that. All right, so our project is built. However, right here it says new plugins are available. We'll just hit dismiss, it's fine. We are gonna hit this button right here where it says show or hide the sources panel. So we'll click on that. And then you can see now we have like our list of content. So we need to make 2 folders. The first one is gonna be our art folder. So we're gonna right click content, get this context menu, and we're gonna say new folder. And we're just gonna call it core, right? Because that's where all our blueprints are gonna be housed. And then we're gonna click on content again, and then right click it and say art. And this is where all our art is gonna be stored, our meshes, our textures, materials, and so on. Okay, so let's go to the core folder and we're just gonna create some actors to sort of help us out because we talked about kind of what we need right here, right? So we're gonna build some of these. So in the core folder, we're gonna right click, we're gonna say blueprint class. The first one is gonna be our golf ball. So we're gonna select pawn. And you can see when I hover over, a pawn is an actor that can be possessed, right? And receive input from a controller. So a pawn is what the player is going to possess and move around, right? In our case, it's gonna be the golf ball. So we're gonna say pawn, and it's gonna be BP _ golf ball pawn. Oops, did not mean to bring that up. Just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing here. The next thing we want is we want to adjust the game when the game is playing. So we're going to need another blueprint. So we're going to right click in our core blueprint class. It is going to be I'm going to get this wrong, I think. I'm going to do game state, I think it is state. Yeah, here it is, game state. So it's this one right here, game state base, this one. We'll hit OK. This one's going to be BP _ my game state. It's fine. And then we need another one. So this one's going to be blueprint class. It's going to be actor this time, actor. And this one's going to be BP _ pin. So that's the flag. That's this flag right here, right? The player needs to hit the ball into. And then we need a tee off location. So we'll do another one, actor. It's going to be BP BP _ T. And if we want, we can do tee off, it doesn't matter. And then we need another blueprint. So we'll right click again. This one is going to be actor, And this one is going to be BP underscore hazards. So this one will deal with all the hazards and all that. What else do we need? Oh, we need, actually, I'm going to shrink this. So I'm holding down control and then mouse wheeling to set the size. So I'm going to shrink this a little bit so I can add more. So what else we need? We need a blueprint class. Under search here, we're going to do game instance. Game instance. This is right here, game instance. This is it. We'll select that. We'll say BP my game instance. And so what the game instance is going to do, it's going to keep track of how many holes we've hit, how many strokes we've taken, how many strokes hole 1 versus hole 2 versus hole 3, and so on, and then show us a score at the end of the game. So it's all saved in the game instance. What else do we need? Let's see, we got the golf ball, we have hazards, we have start location, we have a goal, we have game instance. What else? Let's look. Water, pin, golf, win. Oh, well, we'll build the windmill later. Let's go ahead and save all this. We'll do file, save all. We do need to make some changes to physics. So let's go to window, or sorry, what is it? Edit, under edit, project settings, this one right here. And in the project settings, hold on, I gotta look at exactly what needs to be changed. Into project settings, we're gonna go to physics. This one right here, physics. Click on that guy. Under the simulation category, right here where it says contact offset multiplier, and actually I'm gonna bring this a little bit closer so we can see it. Contact offset multiplier, that one is going to be changed to 0.001. And then we have right below that is minimum contact offset. We're going to change that to 0.0, and maximum contact offset is going to be 0.001. This is just going to change the behavior of our ball whenever it hits a edge in the game. So I wouldn't worry too much about figuring this out or understanding what we've just done. It's just making slight changes to the physics so our ball behaves better. Okay, so let's see, what do we want to do? We can build, or you know what we need to do? We need to make a new level. So let's do that first. So let's go to first person, what is it? First person blueprint, maybe? It's one of these guys, maps. Yeah, first person blueprint, this guy right here, maps. And we'll right click this first person example map. We'll right click that and we'll say duplicate. And it allows us to rename it. So we're gonna rename this to putt golf course underscore map. Putt golf course underscore map. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab this guy. We're going to drag it into our art folder. When I do, you can see now it's there. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we might want to create a subfolder inside our art folder. So just for our maps. So I'm going to right click inside our art folder, new folder, maps. And then we'll put that putt golf course map in there. Okay, that looks better. And then I'm going to double click this so that we are in it. And how I know that I'm inside that map is I can look right here at the tab that says putt golf course underscore map. Now, when I load could you repeat the values? I can. The values for what? What values? Values. You gotta tell me which values. Oh, yes, physics values. I'm sorry. I went super fast. I apologize. So it's going to be contact offset is contact offset is 0.001, and then it's min contact is 0.01, and then max contact offset is 0.001. Yep, no problem. It's a good question. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. Okay, so maps, create a new map. We'll put it in map folder, new map. We want to, when we load this project up, we save everything and we come back and we want to load it up again. We want it to go directly to this putt-putt golf course map. So what we're going to do is going to go project settings. We're going to go to maps and modes. This one right here. And right here it says editor startup map. We're going to change that to our putt-putt golf course map. And then the game's default map is going to also be that putt-putt golf course map. So those two. Just setting up the project. In the same category, maps and modes, we're going to go right here where it says selected game mode. And we're going to change default pawn class to none. So we're just going to click it and change it to none. HUD class, we're going to change that to none. Player controller, we actually may create a player controller. I'm not sure. I don't think we will, though. I don't think we need to. So we can leave that alone. Game state, well, we're going to change that to our game state we just created. So BP underscore my game state. Player state, we can leave as player state. Spectator respawn, that's fine. We'll leave that alone. And then down here under game instance category, we're going to change that to our new game instance that we created. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we could actually probably create a HUD because we are going to have a HUD, but we'll come back to that later. We'll come back to that later. All right, so now that that's all set, we'll go back to our game. We'll hit play. And why is it, why am I spawning in? What is going on here? Should not be spawning in. Oh, first person character. So in our map, what we want to do is we want to get rid of first person character. So in the world outliner, we're going to type it for first person character. We don't need that. You can go away. You're gone forever. We don't need them. What else do we have here? Is this network start? That's what that looks like to me. Yes, network player start. There it is. That can go away too. Goodbye. We don't need you. Go away. Well, I'm just hitting the delete key to get rid of it. What else do we have? We don't need all these cubes. So I'm going to select all the cubes and hit the delete key. They can go away. And I'm also going to remove that folder. So how do I remove the folder? I forget how to remove the folder. Go away folder. Oh, just hit the delete key. Okay, that works. And then we don't need these two things either. These two big wall pieces, they can go away. And then we can change the name of this, right? First person template, let's change that. It's going to be putt golfing. And maybe it's not blue. Maybe it's like a nice pink or something. And then maybe it needs to go on the wall. Right, so we'll move it, rotate it, lift it up, let's through the wall. Closer. There we go. What else do we have in here? Atmospheric fog. I don't know why it doesn't start out in the 0, 0 position. I'm just going to put, I have the atmospheric fog selected. We're going to 0 that out. And then what else we have? We have sphere reflection. I'm going to 0 that out. But on the Z axis, I'm actually going to raise it up 100. And then what do we have? Skylight. We'll 0 that out. But on the Z axis, I'm going to do 200. Post-processing volume. I will leave that how it is. Light mass importance. Volume, I'll leave that as it is for now. We'll change those later probably. Light source. Oh, light source. 0 him out. And then I'm going to put him at 300 on the Z axis. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm going to turn this floor off so you can see, right? I'm stacking them on top of each other like this, right? So they're easy to get to outside of the world outliner. Obviously, it's super easy to get to in the world outliner, but maybe I want to select them in the scene. So I'm just stacking them on top of each other at the point of origin, right? 0, 0, 0, but just slightly higher on the top of each other. Okay, cool. That looks good. Okay, so what else do we need? We have floors, walls. You know what? We don't need these walls. What are we doing? Get rid of these walls, all of them. Goodbye. All of the walls go away. Perfect. All right, so let's save all. Sphere, movement, school, template level. Okay, that's fine. All right. Now that when we load the project, we'll know that we're in this level versus the example one, right? So if I go back to the example one, you can see it looks totally different. So you know that you're in the correct level if it looks like this, right? Okay, so let's what do we want to do first? Let's build the golf ball pawn. What time is it? 7 o'clock. Oh, we got time. Got plenty of time. Golf ball pawn. So underscore BP underscore golf ball pawn. Let's double click that guy. Brings us into our blueprint editor, which we've spent some time in before. First thing we're going to do is go to add component, scene. We're going to click on the scene. We're going to rename that to root and replace our default scene root with our new root. That gets rid of the sphere. That is really annoying. We don't need that. And then let me open up my reference here so we can see what we got going on. Okay. So what we want to be able to do is and I don't have a drawing for this, but the idea is that when the player left clicks, let's say this is a golf ball, right? And when the player left clicks, I'm like sort of charging up the ball, so like, Sonic the Hedgehog style, right? And then when they let go, sorry, actually it'll be, when it left click. So charging up the ball while they're holding left click, and when they let go, then the ball just shoots out into outer space. So that's what we want to, that's how we want to build it for our putt. So they can have like this charging sequence, right? So we'll go to our event graph here. Oh, we need the ball first, right? So we need to add the ball. So let's see, we'll go to viewport. Let's go to add components here. First thing we have root. Next thing we need is a static mesh. And static mesh, we're gonna call this the golf ball. Golf ball. And then we need another component. This is gonna be a spring arm. Oops, spring arm. So what does a spring arm do? Well, the spring arm allows us to attach a camera. So think of it as like a selfie stick almost, right? That's just sort of attached to the golf ball pawn. I'm sorry, the golf ball mesh is attached to the golf ball mesh. And it's just, the selfie stick. And then at the end of the selfie stick, I'm going to attach a camera. So we'll do camera. And there's two types, a cinematic camera and a regular. We just need the regular camera. We'll leave that named camera. Now you'll notice that in the past, I had you guys have everything sort of be a child of root. But right now, and the way this setup is root is our like great grandparent here, then golf ball is our grandparent, and then spring arm is the parent, and then camera is child, right? So like child of everything. See how it's stacked like that? You got to make sure it looks just like that. Okay, next, let's select the golf ball mesh, the static mesh here. I'll compile everything, it's fine. And you can see there's no golf ball mesh there yet. That's because we need to add it. So with golf ball selected under the details panel, static mesh, and we're going to change that to sphere. And we are looking for just sphere. Where is it at? This one, I think. Yeah, this one. Basic shape sphere. Yep, that's fine. And we want to also scale this down a little bit because it's going to be really, really big. Like if I bring it into the world, look at how big it is. It's like really big. We're going to scale that down some. So right here under the details panel, scale, we're going to change it to 0.25, 0.25, and 0.25. There we go. And I think I need to scale up the spring arm, which is fine. So I'm going to click on the spring arm now. And we're going to scale that up to 2.0, so 2.0 and 2.0. And that'll fix our camera problems. And let me make sure the camera needs anything. What else do we need to do? We need to make some changes on the spring arm. Okay, so let's click on spring arm. And in the details panel, we're going to change the target arm length. So you can see right now, this is the distance where the camera is. It's 300. We're going to change it to 500. And when I do, you'll see that the camera extends out further. See that? So if you've ever played a shooter game, a third-person shooter game, you're like, oh man, why is the camera too close? Why didn't they position it further away? This is that value right here. Let's see what else we want to do. We want to use the pawn controls rotation for the spring arm. So what this does is it allows us to deal with left and right and up and down movement of the camera, right? So like when the player presses W ASD to look forward and backwards. Oops, sorry, it only deals with left and right. I thought it would deal with the other one. But is it going to let me rotate it? It's probably not going to let me rotate it, is it? No, it's not. That's fine. But the whole idea is that it allows you to rotate it when you press controls. Let's see, what else do we need? Oh, the golf ball needs some physics. So let's go back to the golf ball. And golf ball here. It will simulate physics. It's true. And this linear dampening, we're going to change that value to like 0.6 or so. And then the angular dampening, we're going to change that to 0.6 as well. And then what else do we need to do? We need to say that, so right now it's a physics actor. We're going to change that. It's going to be a pawn. Can generate overlaps. Yes, it's true. Have all these blocking. That's perfectly fine. Visible in game. Yes. Okay. I think that is it as far as what we need to have turned on. Look at the spring arm one more time. Camera. Okay, that looks good. So we'll compile and save. Okay, now we can start building some code. So the first thing we need to do is, I'm just going to get rid of these. We will use those event ticks in the begin play, but I'm just going to get rid of them for now. So the first thing we want to do is we want to be able to rotate the camera around, right? So we're going to do that with our X and Y axis on the mouse. So we'll do mouse X. Oops, not that one. So let's try that again. Mouse X. We want this one. Under mouse events, mouse X. There we go. That's the right one. So if you have this green one, that's the wrong one. We don't want that one. We want this mouse X. And then same thing, mouse Y. Under mouse events, mouse Y right there. Those two guys. All right. And then we're going to drag out from mouse X here. And we're looking for add controller yaw input. That one. Add controller yaw input. And what this does is when I move my mouse left and right, it adds to the controller yaw input of the pawn, which our golf ball is the pawn. And that's good. So we need to do the same thing for our mouse Y. I'm going to drag it from our mouse axis again. We're going to do add controller. This time we want pitch. Now, Here's the thing. This moves when I move the mouse up and down. This also moves the camera up and down. However, the way this is set up right now is like an airplane. So if I go down on the mouse, then the camera actually goes upwards. And if it's like inverted, right? Inverted Y axis. And if I go up on the mouse, then the camera goes downwards, right? So it's inverted. I personally don't like that. And of course, we could potentially set up an options menu where the player can select if they want to invert the y-axis or not, right? Most video games have that. But for me, I don't want to, I'm not even going to deal with all that. We're just going to do times, and we're going to do float times float. So if you know a little bit of mathematics, any number that's times itself, times a negative, instantly becomes a negative, right? So we're basically inverting this. We're saying whatever the value is times 1 is the same value as it was, but now it's a negative number. And so now when I go up on the camera, up on the mouse, upwards, right? Then the camera also goes upwards. And if I go downward on the mouse, the camera also goes downwards. Cool. So this is moving the camera around. All right. What else we need? We need left mouse button. So this is going to be our charging thing. So left mouse button. There it is. And we need a variable that says, hey, is the player charging? Is the player like charging up the ball, sort of Sonic the Hedgehog style? If so, then do some things. If they're not, then don't do some things, right? So we're going to need a variables. We'll go under here under my blueprint, variables category, variable, and we're going to call this is charging. And then we'll add that right here and another one right here. So if the player is pressing and holding down the button, then they are charging it. And if they are not pressing and holding down the button, they are no longer charging the ball. Okay, so what else do we need? We need to set up a value of how much they can charge up to. Actually, let's compile and save this before my computer crashes. There we go. Compile, save. As a matter of fact, go to your main editor, file, save all. It's always a good idea. Okay. So where was I at? We need to set a certain value that the player can go maximum to. So what do I mean by that? So here we have, here we'll turn all this off. I can go away. So we have our golf ball, right? And let's say the player holds the button down for years, right? Imagine how much it's charged up. Like when they let go of the mouse button, it's going to be crazy, right? Because they've just been holding it for forever. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want to set a maximum value, right? So if they charge it up, it has a maximum value of like that much, whatever that is. So even if they hold the button longer, this is as much as it can go down, as much as charging as they get. So we're going to do something like that. So let's, what we're going to do is we need to get that value through event tick. So we'll do event tick. And then let's see, what do we need? We need, we need to times our delta seconds by, let's say 1500. So we're timing it by 1500. And this is under event tick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call this launch speed. Launch speed. And it needs to be a float as well. Oops, float. And we're going to add whatever this delta seconds times 1500, we're going to add that to our launch speed. And this will give us the launch speed that the players the player's pressing when they're holding down the left mouse button. So that's going to give us that value. So, but we want to have a maximum launch speed. So we're going to need another variable called max launch speed. And that's also a float. So we'll drag out that max launch speed. And we're going to do a comparison. We're going to say, is the launch speed greater than or equal to, so you can see how my little greater than or equal than, is it greater than or equal to the maximum launch speed? If it is greater than that, so I'm going to hold down the letter B and left click to create a branch. So if it is greater than or equal to the maximum launch speed, then launch speed needs to be max launch speed. So what we'll do is we'll do set launch speed and set launch speed. So connect. Let's see. So if launch speed is greater than or equal to launch speed, then set launch speed to maximum launch speed, right? So it can't go any further than that. But if it's less than maximum launch speed, then we can use that, whatever that value is. What else do we need? Oh, we need to know if they're charging as well, right? So let's do another, hold down B, left click to create another branch. We'll see this will only work if they're charging the ball up. So is player charging ball? If so, get the launch speed from how long the player holds the left mouse down. And if it's, if it's launch speed is greater than or equal to max, then set speed to max only. All right, cool. Got some cool colors going. Okay, so what we could do now is we could actually do a print string. So let's do, let's drag out from this executable, do print string. And what we'll do is we'll say launch speed, just to see if that works. So what we need, what we need is to make sure that we have a golf ball pawn inside our level. And actually, I'm not 100% certain this is going to work, because what I do want to do is spawn in the golf ball. So we'll see. Yeah, okay, it doesn't work. So let's golf ball pawn. Okay, so we can fix this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to project settings, maps and modes, and for now we're going to say default pawn class is that golf ball pawn for now. But eventually we're going to spawn the golf ball pawn in, and we'll not do it this way. So anyway, default pawn looks good. Hit play, and now we have our golf ball pawn. There it is. And if I hold down left mouse, I should get. Oh, it's not working. Why is it not working? Oh, it's not working because we didn't set a value for our max. So let's set our max launch speed to, I don't know, 4,000 maybe. Let's save that and let's see how that works. Play again. And yeah, there you go. So you can see now it's charging up, right? And then once I get to 4,000, that's it. It can't go any higher than that. So do that again. Cool. Okay. So now what do we need to do? Well, now that once it's charged up, we want to launch the ball, right? So I'm gonna move this down a little bit, and we'll go right here to is charging, and we need a new variable that's called CanLaunch. So we'll do CanLaunch Ball. And what this is doing is it's just going to check to see, is the ball stopped? So we're going to do another branch. I'm holding on B and left clicking to create a branch, connecting up our CanLaunch Ball. And it's going to go right here, just like that. And then we're going to set up some linear velocity for our ball. So we're going to grab our golf ball and we're going to do set, what is it, physics, linear something. Yeah, no, not this one. It's this one right here. Set physics linear velocity. Linear velocity. This one right here. We'll connect it like that. And so what this does is saying, set the velocity of the ball, whatever that value is, right? And we need to get that value. And remember, we were doing that down here with our launch speed. So we need to do a little bit of mathematics here. So first, what we need to do is see where the camera is pointing. So what I mean by this is, where's the camera pointing? That's the direction the ball is going to launch at. So we need to figure that out. So where is the camera pointing? Get the forward vector of that, and then launch the ball in that direction. And then we also need to get the launch speed that the player is creating, and then that's how fast the ball is going to go in the direction of the camera. So we're going to do get control rotation. Get control rotation. You say get the rotation of the controller off the view, right, of the pawn. So we're going to get that. And then we are going to do a break rotator. So break rotator, and what this does is just breaks apart the roll, pitch, and yaw axis for us. And then we are going to do a get forward vector. Forward vector. Sorry, get forward vector. You can see it has an in rotator. So we're going to drag from this guy. We're going to do make rotator. And all we need of the camera is the Z axis or the Z axis, right? Because all we need to know, and you can see here, the Z axis is this blue one, right? We just need to know which way the camera is pointing. So that's why we only need the Z axis. And then what we'll do is we will times it by a float. And then that's going to go into our linear velocity. So what float value do we need? Well, we need that launch speed. Connect it just like that. All right. And then we're going to need some logic right here. So I'm going to do a comment. This one is going to be add to strokes. And what this means is like we're adding, like the player hit the ball, so then that goes to the score, that adds to strokes. And then we also need another one called add to total strokes, right? So this one is add to strokes for that current cup or hole that we're playing. And this one is add to total strokes for the entire game, right? What else do we need to do? Okay, so they launched the ball. It's going, it's flying, it's all cool, everything's great. Then we need to reset the launch speed back to 0. So remember how I'm doing this. I'm holding down Alt, by the way. So Alt and left click to drag to create a setter. And this connects like so for now. Eventually we will add these two components, but for now we'll just leave that how it is. And if the player cannot launch the ball, then we will also set the launch speed to 0. So if they can launch the ball, then we're going to fire up this velocity. If they cannot launch the ball, then they just reset to 0, the launch speed back to 0. Okay, so that's compile. Okay, so that's good. Let's see what happens when I drop a ball. I get speed, and it doesn't move yet. But you can see that it's resetting, which is cool. So why is it not moving? It's because right now CanLaunch Ball is false, right? So I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to make CanLaunch Ball is true and see what happens. Phew, there we go. The ball's moving. We've done it. We're geniuses, guys. The ball is moving. It's perfect. And it will move in however much speed that we're golfing. That's right. However much power you give it, right? So we're charging up. The max we can do is 4,000, which is a lot. Oh no! Done it now. Uh-oh. What have I done? There we go. Cool. All right, so let's turn that back off. CanLaunch Ball, we're going to turn that off because we're going to set that later. So what do we need to do? We need to have logic that says the ball is stopped and the player can play again, right? The ball is stopped and the player can launch the ball again, and then of course we'll add more to the strokes and all that. So we need a new function. What this function is going to be is just going to be well, let's do this. Functions, function, new function. And it's going to be check ball speed. Actually, we'll do golf ball speed. And all this is doing is saying, hey, how fast is the golf ball going? Is it stopped? If it's stopped, then let the player play the next hole or next stroke. Sorry. So some more math. So what we're going to do is grab the golf ball here, and we're going to get component velocity. This one right here, get component velocity. And what this do, right? So if we look back at our event graph, we are setting some linear velocity, right? So we're moving the ball. So we're going to get that velocity. We're going to say, hey, is it less than a certain value? If it is, then the ball is stopped, right? So what we'll do is we'll get the vector length, and that will give us a float value, which is awesome. And then we can compare that float value to whatever we want. So I'm going to do less than or equal to, and we're going to say, when it comes to physics, you can't always be at 0, 0. It'll never be at 0, 0. It'll be something like this, 0.0001. And then you're like, it never stopped, right? So we need some sort of tolerance level. That's what this is saying, this tolerance level. And I think for now, I'm going to put it at 5. And so now what we're saying is, if it's close, if it's around 5.0, yeah, then we're saying, yes, the ball has stopped. And we can change this value later, depending on how the game plays and how we feel about it, and so on and so forth. All right, so now we have a Boolean, so we can do branch. So I'm holding on B, making a branch. And then we'll connect up this guy like so. And we need a local condition, so we'll do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag it from this guy, the Boolean, and I'm gonna say promote to local variable. And we'll just do local condition. And I'm going to disconnect that and grab it, copy and paste to make a duplicate. So that's Control C, Control V. So if this is true, then local condition is true. If this is false, then local condition is false. And then we need to know the ball's current speed. Okay, so we need a new variable ball. We'll do golf ball speed, and this is a float as well. I'm trying to stay in floats if we can help it. And drag that, and then this is going to go right here. So vector length is going to be our golf ball speed, and we're going to need this so we can put it into the UI. So we can say, hey, player, the ball is going this fast, right? Anyway, connect those guys like that. Y'all want to hear that again? That was all right. That's enough from the professor. All right, so we need a return node. And this basically ends our function. And then we need that local condition. And we'll connect it to our output like so. And this is going to be, what are we going to say? We'll just say condition, it's fine, condition. All right, so we'll save. Okay, so we can go back to the event graph now. And we can go right here to our event tick. So we're getting the launch speed for how long the player holds on to the ball, we're getting that value. So then what we can do is we can do check the golf ball speed. And if the golf ball speed is less than, then we're saying it's stopped, right? So we can do a set launch or CanLaunch. And actually, I'm gonna rename that to CanLaunch Ball. I'm gonna rename it to CanLaunch Golf Ball. Golf Ball. There we go. And then we're gonna do set, connect, like so, right? And then I'm gonna need a branch. Connect like that. And so remember, I told you this is a tolerance level, right? It's just a tolerance level. So if it's in that range, then I do want to stop the ball completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another golf ball, and I'm going to do set linear velocity. Sorry, what is it? Physics linear velocity. This one here, and I'm just resetting it back to 0. So if this is true, reset it back to 0. And basically what this is going to do is going to be, this is completely stop the golf ball within tolerance level, right? So we're completely stopping the golf ball if it's within a certain tolerance level. And because this one right here, oops, this one is saying we can shoot again, right? That's setting our value for us. If the ball is stopped, then we can do it. And this is being checked. Remember, it's event tick, right? So this is being checked every single frame. 60 frames a second, checking every single frame. 60 times every second. Okay, so this looks good. I think now we should be able to launch the ball without having to deal with that whole thing. That looks good. No, it's too fast. It's gonna stop. Oh, okay, so that tolerance level that's talking about. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Here, we'll just do a little bit. So it's tolerance level, and then it's gonna stop. Perfect. And then I can launch again, and so on and so forth, right? And this is just happening Let's make it big screen here. So you can see here right now, am I charging the ball? No. As soon as I left click, oops, why spawned one? Oh no, what have I done? Let's do this. We'll get rid of you. Spawn in, there we go. Okay, so face the camera in the direction I want to go. Is charging. You see now the oops, we will do it again. No, it doesn't let me do it. That's fine. But you guys can see that it's charging up. It's giving me a value. As soon as I get to 4,000, it will switch. You can see I can't go any higher. It checks the golf ball speed. So you can see here, it's not resetting, right? Because the ball hasn't stopped yet. Once the ball has stopped, then I can launch again. It all works. Okay. So it looks good. What else do we need? We need to let's set the camera height as well. So what that means is that I want to set the camera a little bit higher than it is. So if we hit play, it's kind of low. And what I really want is the camera is like basically perfectly parallel with our golf ball. And what I really want it to be sort of like offset. So let me draw that so I can show you what I mean. So right now, here's our golf ball. We have the spring arm, and then here's our camera, right? But what I really want is like this. I want the golf ball like that, and I want our spring arm and our camera to be slightly higher like that. It's like sort of offset. Because what will end up happening is our spring arm and our camera will sort of look like this. And so you'll have a better angle of how the camera behaves, if that makes sense. This is how third-person shooters are done too, by the way. So cameras normally starts like that, and we adjust it, like put it on their head, and then a little bit offset, a little bit higher until it feels right. So let's go back to our golf ball. Let's create a new function. We're going to call this set camera height. Camera height. And we will do the spring arm, and we'll do set world location. Connect that up like that. And we'll get the golf ball, so golf ball, and we'll get that world location. And what do I want to do? I want to do vector plus vector. So vector plus vector. And I only want to adjust the Z value, right? So I'm going to break this yellow pin here, split structural pin. So you just the Z value. And drag out from there. I'm going to say promote to variable. And we're going to call this camera height offset. And then I'm just going to connect this guy like that. And we will actually make this exposed. So I'm going to click on the little eye to make it visible. And I'm also going to, we'll compile here and save. I'm also going to set the default camera height to, I don't know, 100. So this is going to be like 100 centimeters higher than it is normally. Okay, so it looks good. Now all we need to do is connect that to our event graph. So we'll go back to our event tick, drag out from our event tick here. I'm going to grab that set camera height and we'll connect it like this. And so now every single frame, we are going to see where the spring arm is and set it based off of the golf ball plus our height offset. Okay, let's see what that looks like. So, oh no, I need to be on the course. So you can see now the camera is higher than it was. And if I want, I'm going to move this over and we will select our Golfball Pawn because I exposed that value. Can I go away? Pin? No. Let's see. Project settings, cameras. Hold on, I want to turn off that camera. Editor. Appearance, maybe? No. Oh, this camera somewhere. No, not plugins. Engine. Oh, it's project settings. It's in editor settings, I think. Editor preferences. Yeah, here we are. Viewports. Aha. Cameras. Preview selected cameras. No, I don't want to right now. Go away. All right. Now, where was I? Golfball Pawn. Yay, see now no more camera. All right, so you can see the camera height offset is 100, so it's a little bit higher. If I change that to 500, you can see now I'm like way up high above the golf ball pawn, right? And if I change it to 50, then I'm much closer. Oh, I didn't mean to left click. I'm much closer to the golf ball pawn, right? So if in the UI, we can make an options to allow the player to set that how they want, because maybe if they are, you know, trying to get a precise shot, maybe they want to be like almost a pull cue style, right? Be very close up and get that close in feeling. But if they like want to see the whole course to figure out where they need to hit, they go like, oh, let me zoom up bird's eye view so I can see the whole course. Oh, okay, here's the whole course. This is what it looks like. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. And then they can change it back and bring the height back to the height they want it to be. But for now, we'll just leave it defaulting at 100. Okay, so what else do we need? Let's also, since we're doing the height offset, let's also do like a spring arm offset. If you remember, I showed you earlier that we can adjust how close and far the camera is, right? So we left it at 500 by default, but let's create a ability for the user to change that length. So what we'll do is we'll do another function. So functions, we're going to do set spring arm length. And we need spring arm, obviously. And we are going to do, what do we want? We want target, oh yeah, here it is. Get target arm length, this one right here. And we need drag out from here again. And this one is going to be set target arm length. So if I go to the spring arm, you can see right here, target arm length, that's where we're adjusting. This is where we're adjusting, right? So what do we need? Connect this guy like this. And then we need to, how are we gonna do this? We'll do mouse wheel, yeah, mouse wheel axis. And then we will times that mouse wheel axis by 20 or so. So we'll do 20. And what this does is like every time I scroll the mouse, I'm going to say 20 more to the target arm length, right? So right now it's at 500. I scroll the mouse wheel up, 520. Scroll the mouse wheel up, 540. Scroll the mouse wheel up, 560, and so on and so forth, right? So we'll do that, and then we will do plus, so float plus float, and we're adding to whatever the current is. We're adding 20 more and setting that value every time we do the mouse wheel. Save that, and let's take a look at what that looks like. So here is our golf ball pawn. And if I mouse wheel, Oh no, I left clicked. I did not. Oh, we didn't set it. We haven't built it yet. We created it, but we didn't add it. So let's actually add that. Let's go back to our event graph. Right here under event tick. Set spring arm. Connect. Connect. Compile and save. Okay, now we should be able to, yeah, see, we can set the distance. And actually, it's the wrong way. It's the wrong way. A mouse wheel in the wrong way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do -20, like that, -20. And that's just gonna set it as a negative number. Oh no, I have fallen off the world. Let's place it back. Okay, yeah, that feels better. So I can do that. And then right now we don't have a way for us to set the height yet. We will be able to do that later, but I can adjust the height like this. And I can set the distance like this until I feel good with the way, like the players are, they're the ones to decide how they want it to be. And we'll be able to do the same thing when we build our racing game to have sort of same sort of logic, right? Because the spring arm is the same for the racing game. Okay, so what do we need? What else do we need? That looks good for now. What we'll do when we come back is we will probably yeah, what we'll do is when we come back is we will start building out a very first course, right? So our first course, we'll use that using geometry and the shapes, the brush shading tool, right? So we'll just make some sort of white box shape for our first course, whatever that's going to be. And then we will build a pin and hazards and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so any questions on this golf ball pawn that we built? When we talked about a lot today. So hopefully you guys took it all in. I rapid fire through this, but hopefully it went well. Can you show the details panel for the golf ball scene again? This one, golf ball details panel. This one, physics enabled, linear and angular 6 and 6. Collisions need to be set to pawn. This will be for our hazards and our out of bounds and all that. Can generate overlaps is yes. And that should be it. Those should be the main values you need. Cool. And don't worry, guys, I will make another a PowerPoint, right? A Google Slides, Google Sheets, or whatever, to show you guys, take pictures and so you can see it. All right, if there's no other questions, then you guys have a good Tuesday night, and I will see y'all on Thursday, and we'll continue building this. See y'all later.
All right. Oh, Professor, I need to talk to you.
Yep, no problem. Let me stop recording.